What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Grustle 1 million. The Grustle 1 million in the making. This is the chapter breakdown for chapter 8. We're on chapter 8. If you guys didn't catch the other chapter breakdowns, I'll put the link in the description. You guys can check them out. Give feedback, comment, let me know what you guys think. We could talk about it more, but let's get to chapter 8. So on chapter 8, I just want you guys to understand that as life goes on, you'll start to move on, and one thing you should always start to do is better yourself, challenge yourself, think outside the box of building your brand, your company, your vision, or whatever you got. So one thing I was doing, I was fading away a little bit from music. I think the AMG thing kind of hit me hard when I talked about that in another chapter, but I still did it. You can tell I had passion for it, so I still did it. But I was doing that in like in this chapter, I talk about how I was doing that in the background, right? So and at this point, I'm still trying to build my magazine, right? Which ended up being a failure, but I was still building it, getting with guys, trying to do, set up the photo shoots, set up the interviews, just set up content for it, right? And I'm failing. Some stuff is being successful, some stuff I'm failing at, but I'm going through those motions and I'm learning, right? I'm not giving up. That's one thing that you shouldn't do when you hit roadblocks. Don't give up, man. Don't get discouraged. Just keep going through it. So with this chapter, I'm talking more about that, me doing that and, having to fall back, then jump back into it, and then, falling back, stuff like that, ups and downs, basically. But on top of that, with that happening, I feel I'm slowing down, right? So I start to venture more out. So I started thinking about making a video game. So I researched it, see what things. I'm like, oh man, going back to my first love. I'm a gamer, right? Which is a lot of kids probably my age was. But so I looked into making a video game, and one video game that I really was fond of was Final Fantasy. I'm an RPG turn-based guy. I love those games, especially with a good story. And Final Fantasy is top notch to me, man. Love it. So I looked into making that. So I talked more about like the software, things that I did with that. And also, so doing this, right, making like a video game studio type thing, me creating a video game, had to build a team, right? So I talked about how I learned from the magazine when I was trying to build a team from that. And I tried to take what I learned from that and apply it to me trying to build a team for the video game studio that I wanted to do on creating an RPG game. And what I found out that was easier to do, which was easy and kind of tough or challenging at the same time, was that I ended up hiring freelancers, right? So I hired people to do graphics. I hired people to help me with the business outlook, the business plan. I paid people to help me with the maps. I hired people to help me with the character developments. I hired people to help me with the story. So I end up doing that. And the only downside to that is it's money, right? It's costly. So if you can't really get a team to help you along the way, it's going to cost money to do the freelancing thing. So, but that's basically what I did. And one thing you guys should take from that is that take pride in that. And when you having to spend your own hard-earned money into something, some reason you work even more and you try even harder when you do that. So I highly encourage you guys to try to get financially in a good spot to where you can do that, because it sets you up for success as far as being motivated to do more. Because if you're using your own money, you don't want to waste it, and you want to get your bang for your buck. So that's basically what I end up having to do. And I talk more about that, about me starting the video game process. And basically what readers and entrepreneurs should take from that is that even when you start, now even if you're already a little seasoned into the game or seasoned into being an entrepreneur, just always know that you always can learn something, and you always got to start from the beginning to learn more. You don't know everything, right? So you just know that you can there's always room to learn more and just grow, right? So, and then with that, right, in this moment of my life, when I'm doing stuff like that, I went from selling candy to making video games, right? And I was talking, well, I'm not saying that I'm actually at this point making video games, but actually trying to make video games and being a part of that. And it just blew my mind when I sit back and think of me selling candy as a kid and burning DVDs, and now I'm at the point to where I'm actually making video games, right? That, you know, that as a kid growing up, playing them was crazy, but making them, never thought about that. So at this point in this chapter, at this point, I realize I'm at a whole nother level. I'm looking at the big picture of my company, and this, and around this time when I'm doing all this, even though I started out as a clothing line, a brand, at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm at a whole nother. Battle King Incorporated is going to be a whole nother thing. So that's when I started really converting it from a clothing line to like a branding company. And if you want to compare it with something, which I say all the time, this is probably bad, but like Nike, right? I actually see Nike like that. They start out as clothing line and or shoe, you know, sports really, but Nike has some everything, man. They have, you know, shoes, backpacks, all the other good stuff. So basically, it's a branding thing. So I started it, and now I'm slowly converting Battle King Incorporated from a clothing line, which is now Battle King Clothing, but I'm slowly converting that into like a branding thing. So now Battle King Incorporated is branding. You know, Battle King Clothing is part of Battle King. You know, Throne Magazine is part of Battle King Incorporated. Royalty Unleashed Gaming, which I called the company, was part of Battle King Incorporated. So I realized when I was doing this, right, starting from selling candy until I got into making video games, that I'm on a whole nother level, man. I felt like the spot where I was at, I can do way better than what I'm doing. And not to go say that I think I'm better than, you know, all my friends and family that was along the way, but it's just it comes a time and point in your life when you're doing your entrepreneur thing, and you know the certain level you at, and you know what you're actually doing, and you know the value of your work. When you find you around these guys or around your friends and family, you see what they doing, you're like, man, this is not like this is not getting me nowhere. I know what level I'm at. Something needs to change. And so basically that's what this chapter is all about, man. And I felt like I had to put this in the book because you guys are gonna have that moment, you know, entrepreneurs, or, you know, you guys doing your thing, right? You're gonna have that moment to where you feel like, man, I need to. And this is that moment where a lot of people tell me, oh, he too good for us, or it's that moment where you know, you left your friends behind, all that other stuff. You're not leaving your friends behind. You're bettering yourself, and if your friends can't understand that, then it wasn't your friends in the first place. If they're not going to understand the level you at or understand your mindset, they're not your friends in the first place. So that's where this comes from. So I feel like I need to add that. And then in chapter 8, I talk a lot about it. So you guys should definitely check it out. But that's what I got. That's all I got for chapter 8. Is realizing that I'm at that different level, right? So please, guys, like, comment, share, do all that good stuff. Let's talk about it more, and just let me know what you think, man. And then till then, I will see you guys on the next chapter breakdown. And if you haven't already, please go get you a copy of the book at Kaminsky.com. Click on the author tab. You can get the book there, or you can just search it in Google, man. It's available where all books are sold. Amazon, what is it? I don't know. Everywhere books are sold. So go get you a copy. And I appreciate you guys. Till then, see you soon.